calling on Grand Cayman because of the inability to tender those guests. So we now have a ship coming to the Caribbean market in October 2020, Mardi Gras, and we have many of those ships on order for a variety of our brands. So we have indicated, similar to what Royal Caribbean has had for 10 plus years now, these types of ships with 6,000 plus guests aren't those that we want to bring to facilities that are on tender operations just because of the logistics and so forth. So we believe this project will enable us to look at Grand Cayman for those types of ships, which we plan on building many more of. And as you've heard from Michael and many of our other colleagues say, we believe this is an improvement for the guest and the arrivals experience in Grand Cayman, and provides a lot of additional economic impacts and the capability of the guest enjoyment and potentially more tours or possibly staying longer and so forth. So we have a unique view, and I can say we don't have any of those ships today sailing in the Caribbean region. We had our first XL class delivered to our German brand in AIDA as of December, but when Carnival Cruise Lines opened up reservations for the Mardi Gras, it was a record event. So we are certainly seeing a premium to sail on that ship, and we'd love the capability to provide an opportunity for our teams and at Carnival Cruise Lines to consider Grand Cayman for those types of ships in the future. So we're committed to working with Verdun, working with our colleagues to try to bring forward this port project.
All right. And Mr. O'Sullivan, again, welcome. Your initial thoughts.
Thank you, sir. So one thing to touch on that both Michael and David have focused on, my area that I work in the company, besides overseeing the Grand Cayman project for Royal Caribbean, is also shore excursions, right? And so one of the things that we are looking at in developing a pier product instead of a tender product is that it allows our guests the ability and the benefit of disembarking at a much higher rate. And this leads to a growth in shore excursions. And what we are doing, and as we met with some of our local partners last evening, is affording them the opportunity to provide us additional tours, to go out and say, hey, look, we can give places and experiences that are different from what we're offering today. We can take people to different sides of the island. The pier project will allow us to stay in port at longer times, and will also allow us to stagger the arrival and departure of the ships, which can increase the amount of tours that go off. We can do 2 turns a day. We can have tours at shore excursions in the morning, and we can do tours in the afternoon. And this will allow the economic development to continue throughout Grand Cayman.
Now, from that perspective, then, when we have people coming in off the ships, how much faster would you expect with the piers?
Well, I believe currently it takes about 20 minutes round trip from embarking on a tender vessel to debarking at the current Georgetown tender facility. So when you are disembarking in a pier, it's just going down to the correct level where the gangway is stationed for that pier, and you can instantaneously go on and off. When you have a pier to support the cruise lines, it affords also people the opportunity, we have found through our data, is that people will come and go off the vessel. It's not just I go off once and I'm back on the vessel. People will have the opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to go out in the morning and do a tour. Maybe I'll go back, I need to do something with my child or something along those lines, and then go back out and experience some different shopping. The retail components will always grow when you have a pier available for our guests, and it allows for not only a growth in number of passengers who will debark from a pier versus a tender port, but the amount of time that they will spend in port grows significantly.
Would the ships themselves intend to stay longer in port as well with the pier?
In the current setup, all of the ships arrive within a certain amount of time period. It's usually a shorter window. And as Michael has been discussing, weather plays a huge component into that. We all know we have some days that are canceled with the nor'easters, or we'll try to call it spots. But there are days that we are unable to call. And especially with our older guests, there are many many times where there may be some instances where the waves are a little bit higher, they don't feel comfortable disembarking on the tender. We've all been on a position where we're switching between a larger ship to a smaller vessel, and sometimes it's not the most comfortable in and out exit process, exit and enter. So it will allow us the ability to stagger in the morning and stagger and debark. So we can allow hopefully some of the businesses in Georgetown to flourish a little bit later in the evening. Some of those local restaurants will have the opportunity to provide more services to our guests. And specifically with the tours, we can run a variety of tours with a different setup and program.
But it appears, would the ship stay in port longer?
Yes, there will be the opportunity because we are not hindered by the services of the tender port. We have the ability to stay in port longer and can. We have many destinations around the globe. We'll stay well into the evening if that's what the community wants. If the community can support it, if the community has excursions or shops open later, and also there are certain instances where we'll stay overnight and look at that opportunity. It all depends along what Cayman is looking for. This is the ability to connect with the island to deliver the best results for our guests.
All right.
Yeah, I'd like just to add to TJ's point, one of the other opportunities which is fairly significant is today, if you look at the flow of arrivals, there's a seasonality attached to it. Once we have the piers developed, it will allow all of our larger ships to actually build into their itineraries Grand Cayman, which means that we can bring people during the summer months where there's less people coming today. So it's going to really help the flow of arrivals over the whole annual period, which we think will be a real benefit to the community without adding to, for example, congestion, etc.
Now, with respect to the idea of the larger ships being tendered or not being tendered, is it that they can't be, or is it the preference that you rather have a pier versus a tender?
They're simply too big. So our large ships, for example, the Oasis class ships carry around 6,500 guests. That's a very large amount of people. And tender operations, as TJ pointed out, it's a 20-minute trip to take one tender from the ship to shore. If you have that many people, that's really turning it into a massive operation. It's not particularly comfortable for the guests when you think about it. They have to, especially if they're elderly or they have young children, there's a whole process they have to go through to actually board the tender. When the sea condition is perfect, it's great. But as we all know, the sea condition is never completely perfect. It's occasionally choppy or a few waves here and there, and that makes people uncomfortable and they decide not to go ashore. But just the sheer size of the ships doesn't allow that kind of operation, and we know from our operations in other ports around the world that when we can bring the ships alongside, people are much happier, they spend more time ashore, they're more comfortable with it, they feel safer. And to TJ's point, we can stay longer, and if necessary, and there's a program in place, we can, as we often do, stay overnight. You can't tender 6,000 people in the evening, and you can't do it when the weather's not really perfect, and a lot of people are not comfortable with it.
All right. Now, when we come back from this quick break, Barry, perhaps to get the perspective from you and then maybe talk a little bit about the construction aspect.
Sure.
All right. To our guests, certainly, hopefully, a chance to chat with you some more. You enjoy to stay here. And to our listeners, welcome back after the break.
Thank you.
CUC advises customers on Safe Haven Drive and in Crystal Harbor off the Esterly-Tibbetts Highway that they will experience interruptions to their electrical service on Thursday, October 3rd between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Areas affected include all customers on Safe Haven Drive and in Crystal Harbor, including Turnberry Drive, Crichton Drive, Crystal Drive, Galway Drive, Dom Key, Hoya Key, Sardina Close, and Costa Boda Close. The Holiday Inn Resort, Grand Cayman, and the North Sound Golf Club will be affected by the outage. Motorists are asked to drive with caution when using Safe Haven Drive and when in Crystal Harbor, as CUC will have a number of trucks and personnel in the area. CUC apologizes for this interruption, which is necessary to facilitate required overhead infrastructure upgrades to provide our customers with safe, reliable, and efficient power. For more information on the outage, please contact CUC's customer service team at 949-5200 or email service@cuc.ky.
The 2019 Fall Labor Force Survey and Pilot Census are currently being conducted by the Economics and Statistics Office. The Labor Force Survey collects data on the employed and unemployed persons, while the Pilot for Census 2020 will test the questionnaire prior to its finalization. Trained interviewers with ESO ID cards will visit randomly selected households in all districts. The interviews are confidential in accordance with the statistics law. No individual data will be published or disclosed. Survey data are exempt from freedom of information. For more details, please call the ESO on 516-3329.
The time to invest in Camelback is now. Contact Paradise Realty to invest in your future today at 925-7275 or email info@paradiserealtycyb.com.
Grapetree Cafe in Bordentown is celebrating their 10th anniversary on Saturday, October 12th. And to show their appreciation, there will be free fish and fish tea, lots of giveaways, music, and a few surprises for some Grapetree Cafe trivia. Come out and help Grapetree Cafe celebrate 10 years in style. Radio Cayman will be broadcasting live and joining in the 4 hours of fun. Make it a date and let's celebrate Bordentown style. Grapetree Cafe, Saturday, October 12th from 1 to 5 p.m. Happy anniversary, Grapetree Cafe.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us, and certainly really appreciative of the executives from the cruise lines as we're talking more about the proposed project. And as we continue, perhaps let's go straight to Mr. Barlow in relation to, I guess, the construction arm, Ryan Marine Development. Well, thanks. Give us a perspective, and then we'll ask some of the questions.
Absolutely. Thank you again for having us here at the radio show. So this process has been a long process for this group at the table for sure. We've been at this since 2017, and we're very happy to be in the position that we're in. So Orion Marine Group, as well as McAlpine Limited in Cayman, are the contracting design arm for the project.
Okay. Now, when and if the project was to sort of start, two questions immediately. The timeline, and from your perspective, I know what Mr. Bailey shared, but how long will this thing take?
So currently, depending on the process of getting all the permits put in place, we're looking at a second quarter start next year with a timeline of about 2 years.
And then during that time, we're constructing it. What happens with cargo, with the existing cruise passengers?
Sure.
How does that work?
During the whole design phase, we did a pretty elaborate phasing plan. Our operation guys with McAlpine, along with the Port Authority, had properly phased the project out so that we would not interfere with the cargo or interfere with the tendering operations or the any of the cruise operations that happen. We just had to simply move them around within the general site.
Okay. And then when we're looking at the construction, certainly, with everything, we try to mitigate. If you're renovating your house and you're tearing down a wall, you put up some little areas so that you can block off the dust getting into the other areas, and the considerations with respect to, one, the impact on the physical environment, but also all the other logistics of building.
Yeah, so on the upland side, we have a whole pedestrian plan and how we're going to move those pedestrians through the actual work zones. So they'll be protected through layers of barricades, fencing, noise attenuation, especially in pile driving equipment. So we're certainly keeping that as a key focus moving forward.
And I think respectfully, a lot of people, whether they're for or against, or they have any particular notions, may have expressed concern relative to the financial cost as well as the potential impact on the environment. From the construction perspective, any thoughts in relation to, one, the reefs that may or may not be easily relocated, the wrecks, and start with those two first.
So we've spent an awful lot of time in the last 2.5 years of this process of working around the environmental features of Grand Cayman. I live in the Caribbean as well, so I'm just as protective of the environment as anyone. One of the things that this group has done and done well is we have initiated a new technology that literally comes from us that we're providing to the Cayman government. And Michael has said in various other press conferences, what we take and move on the coral basis, we're going to plant back at least 10 times that amount through a process that's going to be paid for by this consortium.
And then the probability of success, that being
So
viable.
Moving coral transplanting. So when we move the coral, we're looking at a 70%, 75% success rate. That's all the studies combined on an average. On the coral micro fragmenting, we're looking at 90 to 93%.
All right. And then finally, when you look at the infrastructure on the upland side, concerns relative to the increase, not just the cruise numbers, but all the other things. How do we compare that? And then
So we're rolling out a website. It's verdant.ky, I believe, right? And on that website, we will post our most recent master plan drawing, where it shows how we're actually taking the congestion off the street and putting it onto our property, both from a cargo and a cruise side.
Okay. Now, Mr. Bailey, as President CEO of Royal Caribbean, there was a number of comments from the members of the opposition, and just today the leader of the opposition issued a press release expressing some concern with the group and the executives here in particular. Maybe, what his words are, political interference, there's an imminent, was a referendum, people's initial referendum. How do you respond to that?
Well, it's it's concerning to hear that kind of commentary. We're a consortium that's been working on this project. We were invited to work on this project by the government and the people of Grand Cayman. We've been coming to Grand Cayman for over 50 years. We've participated in a process. There were multiple bids and proposals put into place. That process was concluded recently, and we came through that process as the preferred bidder in terms of the proposal. We have a very serious financial commitment to this project. It's, as I mentioned before, it's close to $250 million. We've already invested millions of dollars in this project. We think that it's a very positive project. It's good for the growth of tourism, and it's good for Grand Cayman. We feel as if, certainly from what we've seen in terms of how people are presenting the project, that we have a obligation to come, as any business should, and meet and talk to folks and explain the project and answer any questions people may have, because it's important. So we're certainly not interfering in a political process. Far from it. We like to stay as far away from politics as possible. We're simply a cruise consortium who's investing money and have a project and want to explain it, and we're happy to answer questions, which is literally what we've been doing and we intend to do over the next few days. And hopefully people can see it for what it is. It's an open, honest way of trying to communicate and talk to people.
Now, when we look at other projects in the past in other Caribbean ports, this process that you're embarking on, has it been the same over there, or this is a little bit unique marketplace?
It's funny. We have, between Carnival and Royal Caribbean, I'm going to guess that probably we've done over 100 projects globally, in Asia, throughout, literally all over the world. Every single project is unbelievably unique. And it's very difficult to say they're all the same. They're simply not. They're very different concerns, different ambitions, very different. I think, our job really is to try to, as transparently as possible, explain how the project will work and listen to people's concerns. And we've done this in communities and countries all over the world, and we're constantly engaged in these projects. Each corporation has literally teams of people who work on this, and we just try our best to move the projects forward.
And real quick, just one thing, if I could touch base there. when you ask if this project is similar to other places we have worked, and one thing we want to show the uniqueness of this project is that there is no operations involved by the cruise lines. Both Carnival and Royal Caribbean are in the cruise business, and that's where we highlight our business knowledge. Here, Cayman Islands has asked us to design, build, finance, and maintain a project, but all operations, all cruise decisions will remain with the Cayman Islands and the Port Authority of the Cayman Islands. So this is something that we're going to come in, locate the financing, put together the design project with Barry and his team, design it, build it, and then hand it over to the Port Authority to operate. And then they will make the decisions related to berthing preferences. They're still in charge of all cargo and everything along those lines. But yes, this is a very unique project. This is not a common way that it happens, and it's very positive for the island.
And the other thing to point out is the entire risk of the project is borne by the cruise companies. I mean, that's $250 million. That's not a small amount.
Financially, yep.
Yeah, financially, yeah.
All right. Well, Ms. Susan tells us our final break. When we come back, gents, so fast time flies. Well,
Yeah.
Stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Minds are inspired by teachers. On World Teachers Day, the 5th of October, join us in celebrating the future of the teaching profession in Cayman as we open nominations for DART's Minds Inspired Excellence in Teaching STEM Award. The award recognizes and rewards teachers for their commitment and contribution to education in Cayman through STEM subjects. We all know a teacher who inspires us. Find out more about DART's Minds Inspired programs, activities, and awards at mindsinspired.KY.
Think about something that makes you happy. Did it make you smile? We know it did, because that's what we do at Sagicor. Put smiles on our clients' faces every day. With a large range of products to cover your family, it's no wonder most locals choose Sagicor for their life insurance needs. Serving the community for over 25 years. Let us put a smile on your face. Call your Sagicor advisor today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. And some days, man, you shouldn't get paid to go to work, man. It's just too much fun. Gents, thank you very, very much for sharing with us. And I know your time is limited, but appreciate the opportunity not just here as you go about the wider community to engage as many of the stakeholders as possible. And a few remaining minutes to just remind our listeners that we have the President and CEO of the Royal Caribbean, Mr. Michael Bailey, from Orion Marine Group. And he's going to make it happen, the construction part. Maybe when he finishes, I got a birdhouse I want to build.
We'll bring it over.
You can come check in. All right, Barry Loderick, thank you very much. And equally from Royal Caribbean, T.J. O'Sullivan, and then from Carnival Cruise Line, Mr. David Candy. You know, it's amazing. We live in paradise, they tell us, you know. And by that I mean on this side of heaven, you know, not necessarily 6 foot under. So we got to embrace it and enjoy it as best as we can.
That's right.
That's true.
I almost, Mr. Bader, was inclined to ask, when we look at projects of this nature, we see the financial impact without question, whether it's that individual investor or developer trying to do something, a condo project on 7 Mile Beach, for argument's sake, or it's the homeowner who wants to upgrade because of the growing family or increased affluence or whatever. A project like this, hundreds of millions of dollars, social as well as environmental impact, a lot of concerns. We're working in water and open seas to a great extent. And the weather can be a deciding factor.
Yeah.
How do we lay, if any, the fears of that individual out there, not necessarily the voter, but even the business person who says, if we get it wrong, we make a business case, we're doing some probability analysis, but one rogue wave even, unforeseen, but man, there goes.
Oh, you mean we build it and a rogue wave comes in?
But even that, or even doing the process, and all sorts of things. Just that worst case of the worst case scenarios, and we just get it wrong. Oops, on me.
Yeah, well, I mean, the old saying, you plan for the worst and you hope for the best.
Mm.
We've all collectively as a consortium been in this business for a long time. I mean, for the two cruise companies, over half a century. For McAlpine, I don't know, they've been around for hundreds of years. And for Orion, I think they have a similar heritage. We have an awful lot of experience in the ocean side of the world. And we've got a lot of experience in building ports, piers, terminals, literally on every single continent in the world. So collectively, we bring a lot of expertise and experience to this project. I would say the best in the world. There is no other group that could bring the kind of expertise that we have to this project. And so we do an awful lot of planning and risk mitigation and consideration for the environment. And I think, if Cayman wants to move forward, and if Cayman wants a project that's going to help with the economic prosperity into the future over the decades, then there is no better group to do this with.
Then again, final from that, sort of being overly respectful of all and as sensitive as possible to the process. We have the financial, we have the social, we have the political, we have this process, and then with all this transpiring, would it be prudent to continue the path we are, or maybe look at it and say, okay, let's see where the electorate, where the populace will be in, if there's a potential people's initiative referendum?
Yeah, I think to your question or comment earlier, our job is not to comment on the politics of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Our job is, as a consortium that's been through a process and been awarded the status that we've been awarded, our job is to communicate, explain, and to plan and prepare, and to be ready to execute this project with great professionalism and great care. And if the people of Cayman decide that they don't want to proceed, then that's the people of Cayman's decision, and obviously we would absolutely respect it, and we would move on.
Right.
If I could add one follow-up to your question you asked Michael regarding what would happen if something tragic happened to the infrastructure. I've worked in a variety of industries in my career, and joined Royal Caribbean about 4 years ago. And one of the things that I am most proud of our company and the industry as a whole is that we are susceptible to these hurricanes specifically. We have instances where we've got to do medical evacuations. We respond better than any other industry in the world, I could say. Our company, as does Carnival, rolls up our sleeves and hits the ground and rebuilds and helps the islands and helps the communities get back on their feet, because that's what we're there for. We never walk away. We never say, hey, that was a terrible thing that happened. We say, hey, look, we're here to help you and to begin the process of healing again. And specifically with what just happened in the Caribbean islands in the hurricanes over the last 3 years, Royal Caribbean and Carnival have been there day one, helping to evacuate people, to provide supplies, and we will do that again, no matter where it is, no matter who it is.
And that's commendable, but even more specifically, the construction project itself, if it extended pier, for instance, or doing the excavation and the dredging, if that in and of itself creates some potential impact on the environment, the concerns of the 7 Mile Beach or even South Sound or the reefs and the wrecks, once we find out after the fact that it's not what we expected because of all the studies, it's a little bit too late then, huh?
So our understanding and our confidence, based off the 2015 environmental impact study, is that there will be no impact to 7 Mile Beach. Barry's company and the team that he has working with them have the best marine engineers and mitigation places in place to make sure that we are not susceptible to the unknown, and we make sure that we put things in place to limit any type of risk that is out there.
Mm-hmm.
I would just add to that, and when you look at the consortium here, you have an incredible quality of end users and developers. So I think you'll be very hard-pressed to find any group of companies that have built, designed, and we're not operating, but we're maintaining, that will have that collective experience on a global scale. So there's always some unknown, certainly, but I think we're well prepared from our studies of that, working with the environmental consultants, working with design engineers and wave and wind analysis, and our collective 100 plus years probably experience in designing and building ports, that we can do it the right way here. And I think if anything does come up, we will certainly work together, work with the government, work with the Department of Environment to address those unforeseen conditions or anything like that. But I think collectively you have the experts in the field. If there is anyone that you wanted to do a project, I think we represent certainly the benchmark for that.
Barry, it falls in your court, man.
So, one of the things during any construction project is monitoring all the silt movements, especially the marine excavation works. So outside of normally using what we call turbidity monitors, we're going to have a system whereas those monitors are live on the actual dredge, and any of those monitors that gets tripped, the dredging stops, whether we move it, whether we shut down for the day to let it settle. We also have another program that's going to be under the water, so we'll be surveying under the water as well, actually physically looking at things and ensuring that there's not any migration that we're not picking up on top of the water in the water column that we're monitoring. So we're good stewards to the environment, all of us sitting at this table.
So the initial core tests that we've done so far sort of indicate everything is on track.
Absolutely. We have a solid team, Snyder Engineering, Gary's been around for many, many, many years, done a lot of projects. I think he's actually designed this very one once or twice before, as well as Baird Engineering, renowned coastal engineering group. So we're very excited to have such a good group and great partners, which are actually clients as well. So it's really nice.
That'll be fun. Mr. Bailey, final thoughts on behalf of the group.
Well, thank you for inviting us today. I think we're obviously excited with this project. We hope that over the coming days we can explain and help people understand the benefits of the project and listen to people's concerns and comments. I think, as everybody else here has said, we're a group of good companies that have come together. We think that the project is really going to be good for Grand Cayman. And we hope that whatever the political system may be, that when the decision is made, that we can move forward, and we'll invite you to the opening ceremony.
Enjoy your afternoon, gents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
To our listeners, be involved, be informed. When we come back from the break, we have about 30 minutes or so of some open mics, so stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio for all time.
You're listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
The Department of Environmental Health plays catch-up with its residential collection schedule after it reported a temporary shortage of equipment last week. As a result of mechanical issues with collections, the department says collections across Grand Cayman will take place 1 day later than scheduled. Garbage collection for Georgetown residents will take place today through Thursday, Friday and Saturday for the eastern districts, and the DEH apologizes to residents in the affected areas and urges those with specific issues to call 949-6696 or email DEH@gov.ky. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, an activist involved in anti-government protests in Hong Kong has been shot in the chest by police during a clash. The incident came as thousands of people demonstrated in defiance of a protest ban for the 70th anniversary of communist rule in China. Though people have been shot by rubber bullets in previous protests, this is the first injury from a live round. and Russian alcohol consumption decreased by 43% from 2003 to 2016, a World Health Organization report says. It attributed the decline to a series of alcohol control measures implemented by the state and a push towards healthy lifestyles. The World Health Organization said the drop in alcohol consumption was linked to a significant rise in life expectancy. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music, and find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Show your support for the scuba diving and water sports industry at the 2019 International Scuba Diving Hall of Fame Gala Induction Ceremony on Friday, October 4th at the Margaritaville Beach Resort. Tickets cost $75 pre-sold or $100 at the door, so get your tickets today. Tickets are available from the offices of the Department of Tourism and the Cayman Islands Tourism Association. The International Scuba Diving Hall of Fame Gala Ceremony, Friday, October 4th. Get your tickets now.
Sometimes things just don't go as planned. That's why you need Contractors All Risk Insurance from Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Ensure you're covered in the event of property damage and third-party injury or damage claims during your construction projects. And with Fidelity Insurance Brokers, you can be sure you are getting competitive pricing and superior customer service. Call us today for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And let's have some open line. Maybe there's something else you want to talk about. Maybe you want to continue asking questions, sharing your comments. Maybe you just need to seek greater clarification. Well, if this, particular venue can be used to help facilitate that, by all means, 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Call and share your thoughts with us. Let us hear from you. And as we just had the good pleasure of being able to engage, interact, and listen. Project that is certainly many would share is perhaps to date not just the single most cost of project financially, potentially, socially, potentially, economically, and who knows, it could be that political watershed as well. But what it is an opportunity for the country to ensure that it recognizes the importance of being involved and informed, of recognizing that there is a change in dynamic, and those who want to bat in one lane and those who want to in another. Sometimes it comes down to that individual with sufficient conviction and contention and confidence and the competence to stand in the gap. So maybe that'll be you. Just maybe it'll be you. Let's go to our phones. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Dwayne.
Good afternoon, sir.
Number one from New Kingston.
How are you today, sir?
I'm listening to you. Put it that way.
Well, thank you very much.
That's the best thing to tell you.
There you go, man. There you go. Well, I'm always glad when you are able to take time to call.
Yeah, you sure of that?
Of course, man, of course.
Sometimes I don't believe you.
You don't believe me?
I said sometimes.
You know what I tell you? I don't lie unnecessarily.
You don't lie what?
Oh, I don't lie unnecessarily.
Oh, I know that. I know that. Oh, you don't need to tell me that, especially when it's on a Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. That's your special day for not doing it.
Ah, there you go. Any day in a way is a good day.
Ah, come on. We're just joking. To the public who are listening, we are just joking. I just want to say this. From yesterday, we've been having rain up here. When I've been speaking about getting that piece fixed at the hospital for the car to drive under, so they can take a person out in a wheelchair or something that can't walk out there. You see, all this thing is paying off now, man.
Mm-hmm.
People are talking about it now.
So they finally realize that you're a visionary and you've far hit the curve. So you've seen it long before this, all right?
Yes, but the part about it, they won't get on the air.
Well, respectfully, I think it just shows that there are some of us who don't have the same level of confidence or who may not see the importance of, okay, yeah, you bear the load and you take the licks, but the greater good is served, so someone has to do it. And if it's you, I always share it with you, thanks for doing that, because it isn't that many people who have the courage and the conviction to really stand up and ask a question, to challenge something. And sometimes it's to, champion something that others don't necessarily like, So you have to be, for me anyway, very proud to know that we have people who are willing to at least say what they mean and mean what they say.
Well, I can tell you what, if it is something that I know is wrong, I'm going to speak of it.
Well, that's the people I know as Caymanian. That's the sort of stock that I come from, and I'm hopeful that there'll be more of us recognizing that we can do that and still be respectful. Speak very, forcibly if necessary, but still do it peacefully.
Yes, I'm not using no bad word or nothing.
No, sir.
I am just talking straight.
Yeah. But the thing is, how many people, I'll give us an example, and I was going to wait to see when I went that way, and I didn't go yesterday because out of habit, you tend to drive one direction and you have to be conscious to make a, but someone had shared with me that this is on Grand Cayman, the road between the West Bay 4-way going towards the West Bay Primary School, the town hall, which is another library. We call it Old Bush Road. Maybe there's another name for it. And there was a car that was just parked there, and bit by bit, like so many of our public roads, people take a car and dump it along the side, and every now and again someone comes and picks it apart. Takes a tire and a rim and a windshield and a door and a fender, and eventually the car is almost stripped to pieces.
Yeah.
Well, this vehicle is, like I said, I didn't go yesterday to know if it's still there. Had been there for a while, and two individuals, I don't believe they were connected in which way, said they wanted to see, with the school year on the way, police and all sorts of government officials and all sorts of important people in the community obviously must see the car. Want to see how long the car would stay there before it's moved or at least addressed.
Yeah.
Now, that is one thing. Let me belabor it just one bit more. I call it the bypass, the dark bypass, going into Bottom the last roundabout heading north. There was presumably some sort of accident. The vehicle went up on top of the curb into the little median, and thankfully, someone put cones around it. But again, it's there day in and day out, day in and day out. When is it going to be moved? Will the people who own the car be ticketed, at least be cautioned or assisted to move it? Little things that we just see, but we don't say anything about, all of us. So you at least can be counted among the few who speak out when there's something needs to be said.
Yes, sir, and when it comes to that thing up at the hospital, I said they needed either on one side of that front entrance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've been up here. You must know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The front part, you have two different sections where you can push up a wheelchair. They need to cover one side of that, that a car can drive there a certain ways up, and they can take the person out in a wheelchair if it's raining.
Is it then that we are either A, we're so busy with everything that we no longer have time to maybe address those issues, or is it B, we are so immune to these little things that we no longer care, we just, I'm trying to figure it out, these things that happen, we don't seem to understand sometimes how we ignore it almost, seemingly.
I said B. They ignore it because that thing could have been done, and all of these $1,000 I hear wasting on this and that and going on boat Prince coming, and I don't know where he's coming from. they're going to be spending. All that could be used up there just to fix up that.
I wonder sometimes, and I'm mindful, but as I did say to the gentleman earlier, here we are as a community, and we talk. And sometimes, even if we're amongst family and friends and closest of confidence, we may get a bit heated because we think we have that license, we think we have that sense of safety. There's this, sanctity in that conversation. But for whatever reason, we're increasingly fearful to even have those conversations in those settings. Certainly, we don't want to have them publicly, and if we do, we're probably accused of something. More than likely something nefarious. And I'm wondering, where will that take us if we become a society that is afraid and is unwilling to speak out?
Well, I don't know how far you're going to take the Cayman Island, but I know one thing. The only place that can carry me is northward.
But that shouldn't be where we would have to. Why?
And they will still have feed me.
Probably even better than what you get now, right?
Who knows? Who knows?
Yes, sir.
But I said that thing need to be done up there so that, as I said, whenever it's raining and things, they have another section up east that goes straight to the nursing station.
Right.
But that's very narrow. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If it's a heavy breeze blowing and it's raining and you try to get somebody through there in a wheelchair or on a stretcher, man, they get soaked to pieces.
Hopeful, that it won't only be you, but there'll be a strong chorus of other champions in our community. But even more hopefully in the immediate term, that this will be addressed because it's going to benefit the entire community. And it seems that it shouldn't be that difficult nor that expensive or take that long to address.
No, sir. And as long as I've been talking about this, you don't hear nobody else come on talk about it, but I'm not going to stop till I get them do it.
Well, it's one of those things that are going to benefit, almost everyone who uses it. And it shouldn't be that it becomes, to some people, where, he's on that again. It should be, you mean did not address it as much as long as he's been talking about that? Maybe we'll have that approach instead.
Yeah, well, they can say whatever they want about me. Words can't kill me.
Well, no, but boy, they can make it, look bad.
If they could kill me, I'd have been dead long time.
Well, I pray that you continue to be strong and healthy, man, and have that courage and conviction to...
I am not strong and healthy no more. My body is getting weaker, okay?
Yeah, well, I know you should.
What those people at health told me is it's right. My body just getting weaker due to my accident, okay?
Yes, well...
damaging my brain, all kind of thing.
Yeah, man, well... Thanks for sharing, and if I may, just continue to be focused. I believe prayer can sustain us. I believe that the mental capacity sometimes can drive the physical will.
But certain things, man, you just gotta get up and talk about things and try and get things done.
Yes, sir. What is it about Marley said? Get up, stand up.
Get up and stand up and no worry, sit down.
Natural.
That's my section to it.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
So you stop sitting down, that's all. Here, you stand up and to the home.
Mine, and they gave us a new chairs, Wow. And that's it no more.
And you make sure they keep the lady of music there.
There you go, man. There you go. All right. All the best to you, sir.
All right. Minister Head, I hope you're hearing. Cayman Black representatives, I hope you're hearing. Premier, it's going to you too.
All
everyone.
Right. Thank you, number one. Enjoy your afternoon, sir. We'll talk with you as you are willing to do so. Well, with that, we pause very quickly, but we want to engage our other callers, so please stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Did you know that once properly sanitized, some tinned food items may still be safe for consumption after coming in contact with floodwater? In order to properly sanitize these tins, always remove labels, and then wash tins in a strong detergent solution using a brush to get rid of excess impurities. Tins must then be immersed in a solution made of 2 tablespoons of chlorine bleach per gallon of water for 10 minutes. Ensure that containers are air dried before opening. For more post-hurricane food safety tips, visit the DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
Hi, my name is Neraya LeBlanc. I am the minister and evangelist to the West Bay Church of Christ on 24 Batabano Road. I would love to take this opportunity to invite you to experience God's family at West Bay for yourself. We are a caring congregation that strongly believes in reaching out beyond ourselves to spread the gospel of Christ. We also take great pleasure in ministering to the needs of our people in our community. As God's called out kingdom people, we are in the business of transforming lives for the Master's use. For more information, you can visit our website at westbaycichurchofchrist.org or call us at 946-9294 or 917-1809.
Declaring the word of the Lord. Cayman Islands Church of Christ presents Word of the Lord.
Word of the Lord, heard Sundays at 6:30 p.m. on Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for listening and joining us. A few more minutes over 9, at least in this segment, as we go straight to our phones. Welcome, you're on Talk Today.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can indeed. How are you today?
I'm doing all right, thank you. I wish I could have gotten in to speak to your guest earlier, but I kind of just caught the tail end of that, so I don't know the entirety of what was covered. But I have some real issues surrounding this consortium business, in this particular consortium. I mean, it doesn't take you more than 5 minutes on Google or any other search engine to find out that both Carnival and Royal Caribbean are infamous in their industry for their malfeasance in the way that they have disobeyed laws, screwed over countries, etc. So on general principle, we shouldn't be involved with these people. Not even counting the business case for it. But also as a separate issue, I mean, as my father used to say, school children in Japan know that you can't expect to get the better part of a deal with an American corporation, much less 2 American corporations. So we're definitely going to get screwed by them somehow. So the question is, the people who have involved us with them, do they know what they're going to do to us and they just don't care, or maybe they've been incentivized not to care? Or do they just not see it coming?
Well, even as we seek answers to those questions, where are we as a populace, excuse me, in particular as voters, in mobilizing and becoming energized so that we are informed, involved, and hopefully, looking out for, if I can borrow from Mr. Dolan's text, the greater good, the future interests, for the generations to come.
But we're not informed. We're not being told anything.
But then are we actively, let's say, we have elected people who either A, during a re-election sort of campaign, or who want to get elected, have political public meetings. Are we asking for that from those elected? Because they're the ones, and there are 19, to the best of my knowledge, who are elected across their 19 constituencies. Are we going to the government and saying, hey, what's happening here? Here's a view on this. Are we, as an individual, sort of courageous enough to maybe inquire, maybe demand, if that's a word that we could use, some sort of a public meeting, and not what does the guy call it? A dog and pony show?
Well, that's precisely what I would characterize that attempt at a propaganda thing last year. I mean, in the time since then, I don't know what calendars you've been looking at, but I haven't seen anybody particularly high up in the government presenting themselves to be scrutinized on this particular topic.
Well, that may or may not be, but and I want to keep asking this, in that we point fingers at the politicians, and maybe, honestly, it may be legit to do so, but are we, as the populace, and I say the voter specifically, are we also saying, hey, how do we galvanize our efforts and say to the politician, well, we would like a meeting in the town hall, in the school hall, in the church hall, under the mango tree, in somebody's backyard, so that there is public access to this thing and an opportunity to ask a question, just like you would if it was a political campaign and there were fridges and stores and chicken and turkey and beef and whatever else that was being shared out.
Well, I think it's unfair to put the onus on the voting populace. The social contract of democracy is that we give them, or we lend them, our power to act on our behalf, right? So they clearly know the will of the people, and if they don't know it, they can find it out easily enough, right? So I don't think the onus is on the voting public to force these people to do the right thing. It doesn't prevent them from doing the right thing anyway, so the onus isn't on us. Well, we've already showed that we are willing to participate in the democratic process, so it's time for them to hold up their end of the bargain. Okay,
I hear you, but let me ask then. If the politician, the political directorate, the government in particular today, through its numbers, says, well, you know what, we always have a mandate because we've been elected, and so therefore we know better because we have access to information, and this is where we're going to go. Now, if you want to share that the onus isn't on the voter, and if we have something that is time sensitive, and if we have something that is, let's use the port project, right? So we're going to strike a contract, we're going to start construction, maybe it's a school, maybe it's a road, maybe it's a play field. Something is going to be done that's going to physically change the landscape. It's going to require expenditure of money. So something's going to be done that probably can't be undone. Isn't it then for the voter to sort of say, well, hang on a second, I don't feel that I know enough about this. I'm not quite sure you're doing this thing. Just like it is for that voter who, for whatever reason, we may allege has been induced, influenced, promised somehow, encouraged to come on board to be a champion for it. Isn't it equally for the voter who's not sure or who's, for whatever reason, opposed to do likewise and say, well, have you seen this? We now, as, your employer, asking you, requiring you, summoning you to come to a public forum because we need you to make sure you're not misunderstanding where we are on this thing.
Well, I would argue that very sentiment is made manifest by the petition that has now been enacted into the country's first people-initiated referendum. We have spoken once again, and once again, our government is silent.
I hear you, and there are probably many who would agree with you, but there might even be one who would say, yeah, but it took a year to get there, and there's only 6,000 plus, and look at all those others who can't sign, won't sign, and what have you. Now, I believe your perception is shared by more of us, but anyway, before I get accused of being more political than I already have, what else do you want to talk to us about? I just trying to provoke the discussion.
Well, I think it's this whole situation is symbolic of a greater disconnect between the power of the people and the people we gave that power to. It seems that one side repeatedly goes to the polls, does their civic duty, tells the people what they want, or tells the government what they want, and then the government just simply does not do it. Right. Doesn't even do the opposite, or does something else entirely. They just don't do it.
And if that is the case, then I come back to the whole thing. Like, like the employer who says to the employee, here's your contract, here's the terms of reference, your job description, as it were. If thanks, Mr. If your employee isn't doing what, the employee isn't doing what the employer wants to do, isn't there, I don't know what you want to say, probation, firing, replacing, retraining? I mean, something happens, right?
I would argue that you're dead wrong when you say they have a mandate. They cobbled together something resembling a legislative body out of an absolute butchery.
Right. No, I didn't say they had a mandate. I'm saying they may assume now because they've been elected that they have a mandate. But even to that, we're not even willing to discuss that publicly. There were factions come together, and now they say, "Oh well, therefore we are," because, as you said, cobbled together. I like how you're thinking and talking, man. But can others do the same?
I am flabbergasted by how quickly the so-called rebels, people who should never have been able to find common ground with the sitting government because they ran against them, for God's sake, how quickly everybody got into lockstep. I don't know how to characterize how that happened.
What is it their grandmothers told us? Politics makes streams bedfellows. And what was it that someone just whispered to me not that long ago? You lay down with dogs and you pick up with fleas? All right.
I don't know, but it smells wrong.
There you go, man. All right, man. Enjoy it. We can talk again after the show. Let's go to the phones, though, Miss Susan. Good afternoon. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm just giving a report on that car that you were talking about down on Old Bush or Town Hall Road.
Oh, there you go. Thank you, sir.
It's still there.
It's still there.
Parts of it is still there.
Parts of it, man, boy. When I saw it, it was a brand new car. The paint job was shining. No, that's not true. No, I'm just trying to be on. So it's almost picked to pieces, huh?
Yes. So how do we get it moved from there now, you said?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question I'll ask you.
Well, that's the thing, you see. It's unfortunate. And I'm not trying to say that the police is to blame or the Department of Environmental Health or what have you. But as a community, here's a practice that it doesn't matter where in this country. It seems to be something that is happening everywhere along every public road. People are just tossing cars along the side of the road. And people are coming in, taking it and picking it apart. And it's not today, it's not 10 years ago. This seems to be something that has become commonplace and it's been accepted and it's been almost an established practice for too long.
Yeah, well, each one of those vehicles have a license plate or a VIN number. Mm-hmm. And the owner of that vehicle need to be talked to.
Listen, if we don't want to give them tickets, I'm not saying that everything needs to be punished, right? But at least say to people, this is not what we want. It's unsafe. I'll give you an example. The other evening, a friend was driving along. Thankfully, she's a very cautious driver, right? And I joke with her, I say, even for a woman driver, but I won't say that publicly because I might get licks for it, right? And she makes the roundabout by Salt Creek. And she's heading down, and right there, for some reason, it was very dark. And there's a car stopped in the road, in the lane. No lights, pitch black. And, more than one person almost ran up in the back of it. Now, how do we get to a place in our society where someone thinks that is something that you do? Just leave a car there in a lane, no visible sign that it's a road hazard, and then lo and behold, many of us pass it and leave it alone. Maybe I worry about the little things.
Well, there's something came to my mind. When you bring a car into the island, the government charges a disposal fee. I don't know what that disposal fee is supposed to entail, but what I would think is the government would have a record that will go and pick up any car that was imported and was paid, the fees were paid on. Whenever the owner or you find it derelict, just pick it up and carry it where it needs to be. Or, if they charge the fee and that's not included in it, maybe they need to charge a little more for that fee and be able to afford to go and pick these vehicles up.
Well, that is something, but we can also, I think my recollection is that not that long ago, the police ceased the practice. They stopped, towing away cars that were involved in accidents. Now, even if we were to do what you shared, how hard would it be for us to develop within our society that ethos, that mindset that says to our people who live and work here that this is something that we just don't do. We don't leave our cars. We don't deliberately take a car and abandon it along the road. Just like we don't throw things out of our car windows, we don't litter the roadways, we walk our dogs on leashes and they muzzle and we pick up after them. I mean, there's so many little things in our society that are significant that seems to be accepted. I mean, almost encouraged.
Yeah, I guess that's because good people are sitting idle and not speaking up when they see things wrong, or not actually, like what I told, you say in a community, and then you say in a country, and then you say in a community, and then you say in your household.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to iterate. I said, baby, if you find something out of place, just pick it up. Don't spend extra energy finding me or somebody else.
Take responsibility, right?
Energy, you cross the garbage can twice.
Yep.
Trying to find me, and all you have to do is bend down and go to that garbage can once.
Yeah, man. I like it, and I'm glad that there are people like you who are at least willing to engage us. Hey, thanks much. I probably need to call you. It won't be for cornbread, but I'll give you a shout. All right. All right. One final quick call before our next break. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ebanks. Quincy Brown. How are you, sir?
Not bad, Quincy. I'm actually blessed, thankful, accused of being tall and handsome. Working on muscular and tan. How are you, man?
Are you hearing me clearly, sir?
I am indeed. Trust the scene on your side.
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear. Good afternoon to you and your listeners here at home and those around the world listening on the World Wide Web. Well, October, it's here. It's the 1st of October, and October is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's also Senior Citizens Month.
Mm-hmm.
So just as we've concluded the month of September, as you are aware, September was Recovery Month, and there were many activities across Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac that relates to recovery. There was a Family Fun Day at the Turtle Center. There were gatherings of recovery groups and also a walk, run. Anyone who is conscientious when it comes to recovery, they came out and they participated, because addiction affects us all. If it's not you or me personally, we have family members who struggle with addiction. And let me segue in then to saying that our mental health is our responsibility, because it's either or either. It's black or it's white. It's either we're in good mental health or we're in poor mental health. And the onus is on us as individuals to make sure we're getting enough sleep, diet, exercise, we're taking medication as prescribed by our doctors if needed. We all can lead productive lives in this community, whether or not we're diagnosed with a mental condition. But I call today for the voiceless, those suffering from mental health conditions who find themselves in overseas countries. Mr. Moderator, I'm aware of persons living overseas being treated for mental health illnesses overseas, and they desperately want to come home. I'm also aware of persons who are quite happy living in their host country, their newfound land, and they don't want to come back to Cayman. But for those who want to come home because they're homesick, they miss their family, how quick can we as a country build the well-needed facility in East End, the mental health home? That is needed, and it shouldn't become a politicized issue or a political football. We need to allocate the funds. I'm understanding that funds have been allocated and groundbreaking should take place prior to the end of 2019. I hope this comes true, because there are many persons in our family, Mr. Ebanks, in your family, in my family, in our West Bay, Georgetown, Cayman Brac families that might find themselves in these positions, in these mental health homes overseas. And I think it's a crying shame when Caymanian families just let their loved ones go there and wash their hands off them, out of sight, out of mind. Now, that's not every case, but I can tell you there are some cases where family members are so fed up or so embarrassed of their loved ones that they take pride in, you know what, let's ship them off to another country. That needs to end. We need to bring our people home. You have anything to add to that before I say my goodbyes, Mr. Ebanks?
No, thank you very much, man. And good segue, because our next segment, we're going to be talking about a World Mental Health Day Symposium that's going to come be taking place on World Mental Health Day on October the 10th. And it's going to be a discussion we have scheduled next. So always on point. Q, thanks very much, man. And with that, let's pause quickly. Thank you, Susan, for a few minutes into the next break. When we come back, more Talk Today.
Minds are inspired by teachers. On World Teachers Day, the 5th of October, join us in celebrating the future of the teaching profession in Cayman as we open nominations for DART's Minds Inspired Excellence in Teaching STEM Award. The award recognizes and rewards teachers for their commitment and contribution to education in Cayman through STEM subjects. We all know a teacher who inspires us. Find out more about DART's Minds Inspired programs, activities, and awards at mindsinspired.KY.
Logic Fiber Internet is the fastest internet on the island, and it's gotten even better because when you sign up now, you get 1 month free. Sounds great, but there's some very real drawbacks. Your kids will never leave. You'll have nothing to complain about, and you can't blame your online gaming stats on anything but skill. Sign up now for Logic Fiber Internet for the fastest and 1 month freest internet on the island. Visit logic.ky to sign up. Terms and conditions apply.
In recognition of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens presents the Brenda Tibbetts Lund Memorial Walk Run with 2 dates and locations for your convenience.
On Saturday, October 5th, take part in a 5K walk run at Kaibo, Waterkey Beach. And on Sunday, October 13th, join a 5K walk run or 10K at the 7 Mile Public Beach.
The Brenda Tibbetts Lund Memorial Walk Run, October 5th at Kaibo Waterkey Beach and October 13th at the 7 Mile Public Beach.
Support our port, support our tourism.
I support building the piers because the cruise industry puts millions of dollars into our economy each year. Without that revenue, young people like me risk facing an uncertain future. Learn more and spread the word.
Looking forward, looking bright. Support our port, support our tourism.
But I do have some questions.
Talk Today. Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk Today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you so much for joining us. Now a chance to, as Quincy Brown called just then, perfect timing. Good ways for us to introduce our next segment in relation to World Mental Health Day Symposium. It's going to be taking place very, very shortly in the studio. Mr. Henry Matu together with Mr. Ken Figueroa. Yes. Mr. Ken, it's good, Mr. Henry.
Good afternoon.
Good to
Thank you for having us.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure.
Greetings to the listeners.
Should we do that in unison in a song? I think Henry can say, come on, Henry, come on.
Good afternoon.
Come on, try it.
A song you want?
Yeah, I'm
like, good afternoon. Right one.
You still been rehearsing and practicing.
Yes,
no, I say that
good
because
afternoon to everyone. And
laughter is great medicine.
Yes, of course.
And I was...
Good stress buster.
It is, man. It is. And just reflecting on Quincy Brown's very, very quick call just prior to the break, as he was emphasizing the focus on the importance of recognizing mental health and the need, for us to look at it. I thought a World Mental Health Day Symposium at the Harker coming up. First, to you, Mr. Ken, set us the stage for that. October 10th, right?
Yes. Every year, October 10th, we join with 130 other countries, following the part of the World Federation for Mental Health, to celebrate that day. It's a day that we are able to share with the Cayman community what we are doing and to advocate on behalf of our clients and patients.
Now, Mr. Henry, we're going to be using the Harkwell this year for it. I know part of the schedule. I'm really appreciative of people sure to give me a heads up as well. But from your perspective?
Yeah, well, I think this... Not the idea of the 10th of October, but the idea of us getting involved in play came actually through Ken. We were staging Downside Up, Dr. Frank McPhail's play, which we took to Carifesta, and Ken saw it, and I believe he wrote me and asked me if we would put the play on again for his people in the
sort of mental health sphere.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, we can do the play, but why not turn it into a big thing? And then, of course, I didn't know that the 10th of October is Mental Health Day. But then Ken, of course, knew that, and so it all fitted in well. And we are just happy that we could be part of this. And simply because, I mean, we have known, and everybody knows for a very long time, that the arts is terribly important in people's lives. And there are not many other things that can demonstrate what we talk about when we talk about mental health, or how it is. You see, because the theatre is not theory, although their lines is not theory. What this play will show is the actual abuse taking place, but in a controlled situation, which is acting. So people are playing characters. What you will actually believe when you look at them, that what is happening is real. No amount of talk or theory can actually show you it. So it puts you in the house of people who have a son, and there's the son, the father. We see him, but in flashback, and then the brother who takes over the house from the father. The father's gone to sea, and then 2 murders happen, and the boy was told that it was all hidden from the boy, because he actually committed the 2 things, but he didn't do it consciously. I mean, he was pushed to the limits, and he did this thing. So, and those are incredible things for us to look at, and particularly for the experts who are coming in to discuss, the trajectory of mental health, the locus of where it starts from and how the curve goes. And Ken will be a much better place.
Sure. Marino, he's the father of psychotherapy, used drama as a means in terms of making interventions with people with mental health issues. So there's a strong connection. We try to use all means to share with the rest of the community. More particularly on that day, we were focusing on violence against women. One of our staff nurses, Carrie-Ann Benjamin Campbell, had gone off to FAHU conference to deal with intimate partner violence. And we see a strong link of violence within the family reflected in mental health. So we're using that thread to share the message. The theme this year for World Mental Health is suicide prevention. So we see lots of the violence and the discord within families resulting in, at times, issues to do with suicide. So that is our platform for this year.
I think using the venue or the Hartwell Theatre, not just the play itself, which is incredible. I mean, as you were sharing, I was thinking, I think back to Miss Pat Bain's production some years back. I was trying to recall same issues and the use of the arts, drama, plays to communicate, convey messaging. Not unlike maybe we see in the business where they have role playing in terms of interviews and the like, but more poignant as they can for that day and for the wider public. How do we get involved? Because it's a mental health symposium.
All right, so let me give you an idea of what's happening on the day. We start with the morning program with some official opening remarks. Hopefully the minister will grace us as our presidents. Dr. Lockhart and Dr. McGill will be there. Dr. Mutu will also address us that morning. And then we go into the play, which should be about 2.5 hours.
I think it's about 2 hours. So we have a first half, and then we take a break. And then we do the second half. And then after that, then a lot of the discussion.
So then the evening now will be set aside for a discourse, intellectual academic discourse. We involve another presenters from the police service, from Children and Family Services, from the Accident and Emergency Physicians, Family Resource Center and Crisis Center. Hopefully we can tease the minds, again allowing the opportunity to talk, because part of the rationale behind it, if we talk about it, then we do something about it. So the intimate partner violence and the suicide prevention, an important aspect is beginning to take it away from that secret room.
Recognizing that it's an issue, having public discourse on it perhaps allows people to address it much easier not unlike what we've done over the years with respect to, say, talking about cancers and the like.
Sure.
But Mr. Henry, from that notion, you're sitting in the audience and there is on stage, even as a one-man actor in this case, and this drama is unfolding. There are many who are going to reflect on it either from personal experience, either from something documentary, maybe in university, maybe a news article that they read or something they saw. It's going to resonate with us. A chance now to talk more directly about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, like you said, like we said before, I mean, the arts, not just theater, but music. There's music therapy. There are people who haven't spoken for years. I saw a video with an old man who hadn't spoken for 15, 16 years, and his wife was at his deathbed, and he hadn't said anything. And when she came, and she started singing to him, and it was the song that they knew together when they were young. And he actually started singing the song, and he hadn't spoken for years. We know this, and this is known. I'm not an expert in it, but from a theatrical point of view, and from someone who has to interpret works, when I do it, like I had to interpret this work, one had to look at the characters and find out where did this thing start. And so you have this cycle going on, because you have the child who is being abused by the mother, but the mother is being abused by the stepfather, and then the father before, and then the father is also absent from the house because he goes out fishing. He's always away. So the uncle steps in. So the boy is not just being physically abused; he's mentally abused because he realizes that there is something untoward happening between his mother and father, which is not right, because he knows, not his mother and father, sorry, his mother and his uncle, and he knows that there's a problem there, but he can't say it because he couldn't tell his mother anything like that and make objections. So he has to bottle it up mentally, and then he becomes affected by it. So he kind of, what we say, he goes and comes, there's sort of a bipolar thing where he talks to dolls and turns them into the characters. So he reenacts, he beats his dolls, which is what he sees his father does to his mother. So the transference of these things, we see it. And then, so as a director, I obviously have to read the play and know enough about psychology to be able to understand the characters and then direct it in the way that I think the playwright means for it to be seen. The thing about great plays, and this is, I think this is probably within the Caribbean context anyway. It is socially it is one of the great plays, not necessarily theatrically or dramatically, but it is socially one of the great plays. And great plays and great artists are national first, so they work within their own society. What we're seeing in this play is nothing that is from outside or anyway. It happens outside, but the playwright is writing what he knows solidly, and so we can't say, well, this doesn't happen to us or it doesn't happen to our children. It happens, and we know that from the research and the statistics that these things happen.
So violence against women is a human rights violation, and it's a public health problem. And FAO has recognized that 1 in 3 intimate partner relationship, there's some experience of physical or sexual abuse. So in the intellectual discourse, a lot of that will be discussed. In addition, if we take the prevalence of suicide, it is indicated that it's 800,000 suicides a year. For each completed suicide, there are 20 attempts. So it's estimated that every 4 seconds somebody died from this. So that is a big public health issue.
Yep.
And as I listen to Mr. Ken, the idea that we can have this symposium and invite the mental health professionals to have that discussion, and we as the wider public become cognizant of how prevalent it is, almost.
It's all healthcare workers, all right, who are stakeholders in this, are invited, all right. In addition, through Henry's effort, we are set aside some 75 seats for students from secondary schools and other tertiary institutions to be part of the discourse, because that's where we need to address some of the issues that we're going to be discussing later in the afternoon. So we have our overall charge of $10, which will cover our main expenses, but more particularly, we want to make a contribution to the crisis center at the end of this. So a minimum budget, which will give you, for people who are health care professionals, again, 5 hours further education. You're getting a play, and you're getting refreshments throughout the day.
And the play alone is $30 if you're paying to come in and see it. So you already your money, you save a lot of money there. You know.
I mean, and I think as you shared, the continuing professional credits that you would get.
We offer, yes.
Yeah, we understand increasingly the professionals in our communities having to travel in many instances in the past overseas in order to satisfy this. So a great expense in the time as well as the money. Here, this is a day's activity, sort of throughout the work day.
Yes.
So from 9 to 3:30, I'm told.
Yes. So we have a little break at lunchtime, but the first bit of it going to be the drama production. The second bit would be the intellectual discourse. So involve on a panel of people, experts in their own little area.
Would there be opportunities from the audience? You reference not just the secondary schools, but potentially even some of the tertiary institutions. Question and answer.
Sure.
Yeah.
That will be set aside, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's where the learning happens.
That's where the learning.
That's the bridge. All right.
Yeah.
And it's great to see that not only are we having increasingly sort of dramatic productions, but more and more of these public lecture series, these public sort of discussions where the audience can participate. When it comes to mental health, I think it's just health. It's not no different from your physical, your financial, your spiritual. It's health.
Yeah. Without mental health, you don't have any health.
There you go, Mr. Ken.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
the same things that you do for health in general: sleep well, eat well, exercise, manage stress, have good relationships, across the board for all health.
Yeah. And I think we somehow, in not trying to stigmatize it, we stigmatize it by saying mental health, that we focus on it. We're not appreciative of the exercise, the daylight, the sleep, the laughter. That's why at the beginning I said, let's sing. Somebody out there, they just laughed at my experience. That's fine. You know what? Maybe for a second they experience something good. Laughter is good medicine, but that's not in and of itself. The notion that having an access to the healthcare professionals that we have here.
Well, I just don't add to this again, because sometimes we do these things and we keep going around in circles, or we keep doing one-off. We do something. For example, I don't know, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when there was this huge outcry about AIDS, we were one of the first people at the Cultural Foundation. We produced a play called One of Our Sons is Missing, about the whole idea of a father who brings up his son as a macho man. Yeah, man, go out, boy, go and sow your oats, and so on and so on. And then when the guy gets AIDS, he nearly ripped the whole house apart, because he couldn't believe that. So the thing is that what we need desperately, but it will cost, and everything costs, is you need a group of 5 or 6 actors, which we had talked about for years and years, of people who could produce plays, in a repertory situation, so we have it all the time. So you can take specific subjects and work along with any set of people in health, whether it's mental health or whether it's abuse or anything, and you could have plays. There are plays you can name them. They're all over by playwrights, not just local but outside too. Excellent works that could be done, and so you could have a group in Trinidad. There's a group called Arts in Action. So they show you how the arts are, because people talk about it, and then we do small things, like you say, you do a conference and you have somebody come in and they do like 10 minutes, but that's not enough. It's good enough for just the one day, but to sustain it and to understand the relationship, and from my perspective as an artist, I just think that we too many people don't understand the power of the arts, not just to entertain, because entertainment is important, but to educate and to heal, and the more, hopefully, at the foundation we can get the kind of funding and support from this community to do this sort of work that would help to support the other organizations like the HSC or whoever. Do it for exams. Kids doing plays at exams. Hey, we have the play. We can bring it into your school. You want it? Come and discuss it. But that's just from a theatre perspective. But can you?
Yeah, but we have been consistently every year
Yeah.
celebrating World Mental Health Day.
Yeah.
Pretty consistent and trying all means in
Right.
linking up the community. Last year we had the youth involvement, a youth debate, which we hope to have next year because it's a biannual event. So including people in the community is pretty important to us in terms of sharing. More particularly if I share with you and I challenge the community, if we could look at our vocabulary, crazy and mad, and if we could manage that differently, if we're dealing with stigmas attached to mental health, reference to crazy and mad has negative connotations to my clients and my patients that I work with. So I challenge the community, be reflective and using in parlance. If he's different or he's a little slow, be sensitive to the client group that I deal with. It leads to lots of negative experiences.
I think even just that alone, the way we look at people, the perception, and as you say, the sensitivity, can make a big difference in how we reference it. Even depression, we say, oh, the person is depressed. Is that clinically diagnosed, or is the person just, again, understanding public education involvement, symposium like this on World Mental Health Day can go a long way
and provide some enlightenment.
Yeah.
All right, and hopefully it would trigger some more work in the area because a lot of research is needed in this area, particularly to address the intimate partner violence. All right, and some evidence-based interventions needed at the moment because it's kept under the doors, but it is a big public health issue.
Well, I must say, in public, I commend Dr. Alexandra Borden. We do a monthly show, and for all the healthcare professionals, the psychologists, and who join us, the discussions that we have there, but more importantly, the discussions that unfold following each show, and not just amongst the professionals, I'm told, but just the wider community. People starting to be able to understand that we need to talk about this. But there's a resource, and there's a great resource in this small place, whether it's free through the counseling, whether it's through the HSA, or the other avenues. So it's again for World Mental Health Day. If we have a public, maybe sometimes as employers, we don't see the importance of health and well-being, other than the lip service that we pay towards it. Maybe the human resource manager and others could
because
be
this is a area in which they would have to deal on at some point in their service to their employees. Domestic discourse is a part of the day-to-day kind of living for a lot of people.
Yeah, man. It affects the workplace, the colleagues.
And the productivity that the workplace will experience. Yeah. The lower productivity, these are away from work.
Yeah. And the energy or lack thereof in the organization, the turmoil, the tension.
All right. And then going back to the theme for this year is suicide. A lot of issues, family, friends, community, the wider community being affected.
For us as a public, today is the 1st of October. You're talking next Thursday, the 10th.
Next Tuesday, the 10th.
In closing, for those of us who want to be a part of it, to come, what do we do? Just show up? What do we do?
Yes, to show up. There are tickets being sold. They're $10. They could be gotten from any of the people involved with the HSA mental health unit. They can get their tickets there. All right. On a daily morning, we'll have some tickets available.
So we get the seat down set up. We get some refreshments, a light lunch.
Yes.
We get the discussions, the question and answer. Wow.
A big bargain, I think.
I think so, man. I think so. But I commend you for it, and of course you always know, directed to you and your section, but HS in general, always appreciative of this chance to share and to talk about health and our wellness.
And we appreciate your support.
Always, man.
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
yes,
next time we sing in unison.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Well, and just to close, we are happy to be part of it, and whenever we do shows, we try to do what we call a talk back. As a matter of fact, it was in the talk back when we were in Trinidad with Gary Fester. At the end of the show, we asked the audience to stay back and we discussed some of the issues, not from an expert point of view of mental health, but from what people saw on stage. And it was interesting, the conversation. Just finally, from me anyway, just want everybody to know that the playwright, Dr. Frank, will be there, and he will talk, and he'll be there to answer questions about from his perspective of writing the play and so on. And I'm sure that he'll acquit himself well. I mean, he knows the work as well as anybody else.
Excellent playwright, as a trained sociologist. I think Dr. Frank is well positioned to comment on our society. Always a pleasure, Mr. Ken.
Thank you.
Trust and pray that next Thursday it'll be well received, well attended, and those understand the importance of it. So we'll talk more, I'm sure.
Sure.
All right. To our listeners, after the break, well, something else in store for you. Want to know what it is? Well, stay tuned for Talk Today.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
Traffic adjustments are taking place starting tomorrow to try to alleviate some of the traffic coming from the eastern districts. These will focus on the Red Bay roundabout with the aim of easing congestion and allowing westbound traffic to flow more freely. Head to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky, or our Facebook page for more information. An activist involved in anti-government protests in Hong Kong has been shot in the chest by police during a clash. The incident came as thousands of people demonstrated in defiance of a protest ban for the 70th anniversary of communist rule in China. Though people have been shot by rubber bullets in previous protests, this is the first injury from a live round. Boris Johnson says the government is offering the EU, quote, very constructive and far-reaching proposals to break the Brexit impasse. Speaking to the BBC's Laura Nussberg, he confirmed that the UK's plan would include some customs checks on the island of Ireland after Brexit. But they would also be, quote, absolutely minimal and won't involve new infrastructure. The EU says it has, quote, not received any proposals from the UK yet that could replace the backstop. The UK is set to leave the EU on October 31st. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecasts, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Can you imagine if you look at the calendar, you see two things? Well, you probably see a couple of things, depending if your calendar has, the days listed in full or just, abbreviated, or you just have the days. So tomorrow will be, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But today is obviously Tuesday and it's the 1st of October. Can you believe that already? It feels like a Friday. Well, it's an excellent day, and what a wonderful way to end today's Talk Today with the Executive Director of Pirates Week, Ms. Melanie Myfield. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can I say publicly, and hopefully I won't be chastised, what a wonderful lady you are. What a wonderful spirit you bring to our studio.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you. We hope that all our guests feel welcome and invited and feel that good, hospitable nature of Miss Susan as they welcome and ushered into her studio.
Always.
It's awesome. Awesome. She's amazing, man.
Yes, she is.
Our annual Pirates Week, Pirates Month, Pirates Year celebrations, it seems to be. Because when you go to the banks or other ways, it's the element of piracy everywhere.
We can't relate to any of that. Sorry.
It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to celebrate and to be festive. So I'm excited to hear from you as we look at the calendar for this year.
A lot going on. Lots and lots
always.
going on. Of course, we have our website that's filled with all of the information you need on the festival, and that's piratesweekfestival.com. We do have a lot of people asking questions, when is Pirates Week? When are the district days? Everything you can find and need to know about the festival is on that website. Also our social media pages. We have Facebook for the festival itself, and we also have a Facebook page for our district heritage days. Sorry. So go ahead and like our pages, please, because once you like, you get updated with all the information that you need. Kicking off the festival this year is the BRAC. Excited about that. So we have quite a bit of activity happening over in the BRAC, and that is the 1st to the 3rd of November. But prior to Cayman BRAC, we have some events leading up to that as well. And that would be our 10K to hell and back run. One of my favorites. And you literally run to hell and back.
I was, you know what? Let me just listen.
And that's actually this coming Sunday. And it starts Raleigh Key. For those who don't know where Raleigh Key is, it's next to the Kimpton Seafire, that little narrow road. That's the best way I can describe it.
On this side? No, on that side.
No, on the right side of the Kimpton, facing the ocean.
I'm just teasing.
So that's where you start and that's where you finish. And the race starts at 7 a.m. It's only $25 for entry, and you can go to Cayman Active to register. You can also register for both sporting events, both runs that the Pirates Week Festival puts on, including the 5K and the 10K, and you get a $10 discount. So 2 for $40 or 1 for $25. And you get a shirt for those, the 50 first registrants get a free t-shirt.
Awesome.
So and you get breakfast.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yes, you get breakfast for the 10K.
Run it off and put it back on.
There you go. Thanks to Calico Jacks. Mr. Handel's the best.
Yeah, man. And it's those runners who are very serious. And for them, this is not just fun, but it's an increasingly way for them to test against themselves primarily, but against...
And then the marathon is coming up as well. So these runs help them prepare for that event as well. So it's a great way to getting the spirit of things, not just the festival, but, leading up to the marathon too.
And we got a Breeze Fusion run walk right after that too. So
yes.
That's a good way for them. A month away, roughly speaking, from the calendar's perspective. So excellent way to stay in shape.
Absolutely.
So the hell and back,
And you're going to be running it, right?
I'll walk it.
Oh, you can walk it too.
Yeah, the running
part.
Walk it too. I tell someone, unless I'm chasing the ball or somebody's chasing me, I ain't running. That's good. No, I don't know why. Running, I'll get into it more and more. I find that I get into it more and more, but not there yet. Maybe before I'm 70, I might pick it up.
Before you're 70?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got about 30 years left to go, 40 years to go.
Yeah, about that.
Something. We'll see. So to hell and back, huh?
To hell and back. Again, that's this Sunday, starting at Raleigh Key at 7 a.m. And proceeds of that event also go to 345 Athletics. But the race is actually administered by Race Caribbean. Mr. Derek Larner, he's been an amazing help for both of our runs for the festival. And again, the 5K also benefits 345 Athletics. So it's somewhat of a charity event because we're giving back to the community as well.
And I think that's one of the wonderful things to increasingly about Pirates Week, especially under your leadership. We're seeing more and more the charitable component being at the forefront. It's always been, an aspect of their two different events, but that emphasis and willingness to sort of
and I'm glad you brought that up because that's not something that we speak enough about. And I think it's something we should really, give ourselves a little tap on the shoulder for and I'll tap my staff when I go back
Yeah,
to the office.
please
But
do. Yeah.
we do a lot behind the scenes that people aren't aware of, and a lot of that has to do with giving back to the community.
You hear the thunder?
That was thunder?
No, it's my stomach. Okay. No, that is thunder. Is it rain outside, Miss Susan? Man, it is. Either
It
that or
is.
thunder or Dean moving the chairs. I'm not quite
Yeah,
sure.
I
which
washed
one.
my car yesterday.
So it's
It
gonna rain.
rained. I washed my hair today. It
It's
rained.
gonna rain. I washed my hair this morning too, with rainwater. I just keep people a quick reminder that if the roads are wet, the roads are wet. Just be
Yeah.
careful. I mean,
Be careful.
It's
Roundabouts.
no brainer. The roads are wet.
Mhm.
To hell and back. But the chargeable nature, as we speak to Miss Melda Macfield, the Executive Director of Pirates Week, I agree with you. As a community, we're not highlighting that enough, in
Mhm.
particular on the Pirates Week celebrations.
Yes.
So you got that, but there's also a golf tournament, right?
Yes, we have a golf tournament as well. The Pirates Week Charity Golf Tournament, Golf Classic as we call it. And that's happening on the 25th of October, which is a Friday. So far we have, I believe, 12 or 13 teams registered already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and our aim is to get at least 20. So we have about 7 spots left. It's a great way to, for any corporation to, have some good fun on a Friday afternoon. We're also donating part of the proceeds to Meals on Wheels. And for those who know Miss Pat, who used to be part of the Pirates Week family and still is, she's part of the organizational efforts for Meals on Wheels. And she is the chosen, we reached out to her and let her know that they're the chosen charity for this year's event. We've done the Alzheimer and Dementia Association for 2 years. And that's still a charity that I hold near and dear to my heart because of my father. But, we want to give to other charities as well. So this year is Meals on Wheels.
That's October 25th, a Friday. Is it for a team of 4?
A team of 4. The registration is $1,000 for just a team, or you can have a corporate registration for $1,250, $1,250, and that gets you branding rights. It includes a buffet. It includes a golf cart, obviously, and you also get a golf cart bag with goodies in it. So there's lots of giveaways. We're also doing different fun activities throughout the course of that day that you can register for, and those proceeds also go to Meals on Wheels.
Good way for the community to continually, show its charitable spirit, but equally, think of that team building,
Exactly.
an opportunity to sort of entertain prospective clients or even established clients. But just an organization to go out and, I don't know, we don't do enough of that. We don't see the value in building
I
that.
agree. I agree. And some of these corporations are extremely competitive. And I love to see
Really?
their competitive nature. Very competitive, but they also have fun with it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not a golfer myself, but I enjoy watching them and how they participate and mix and mingle with each other.
I had a friend, he thought, it was a golfer, and then he realized it was a gopher that they were looking for. And so he's just, let that break the tick, Miss Susan? Alrighty. No, yes, maybe so. Final quick short break.
Okay.
But please join us as we hear more about Pirates Week, and I get a chance to enjoy the company of Miss Melda Macfield. So we're going to talk about the BRAC.
Yes,
Who
we're going
knows?
to talk about BRAC
All
and
right.
food vendors for the BRAC and what you need to do to get.
So that tray out there, the samples. Okay, yeah, so we talk about food.
That's all the BRAC food out there.
All right, perfect stuff. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Congratulations, it's a boy.
During the greatest events of your life, whether or not you have the right health insurance coverage should be the last thing on your mind. That's why at Fidelity Health, we are committed to helping you get matched with the right plan to suit you and your family. We offer a range of plans to suit your budget, plus access to a network of quality care throughout the Caribbean and the USA. You can relax and enjoy life's greatest moments when you are covered with Fidelity Health. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Support our port, support our tourism.
The cruise berthing facility will not have any upland development, which means cruise lines will not own or operate any retail or commercial space within the cruise terminal. This is a win for Cape Ann.
Looking forward, looking bright. Support our port, support our tourism.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to Miss Susan for, if she can't make me, look good, at least she make me sound good. So thank you, Miss Susan from the brag. Well, thanks equally to not just Miss Melda McField as the executive director over at Pirates Week, but to her team and for the wonderful volunteers, but the wider community, our friends and family and visitors who come from near and far to celebrate. And there's something, this is my perspective, during Pirates Week for everybody, for the family.
Absolutely.
The district days, you may like the revelry that, as a part of the street parade and the landing and all other things. There's something for everybody.
Everybody.
So it's fun.
It's lots of fun. It's fantasy and it's history.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of fantasies. Oh, you're talking Pirates Week. Sorry.
Yes, the fantasy of the festival.
yeah. But see, there you go. Sorry, I shouldn't make you laugh more than me. Because, I had this, this fantasy that we elected this wonderful government that does everything for people. So just
I have nothing to say.
I would ask you to. No, I'm just teasing.
Yeah, so that's kind of the motto, fantasy, fun, history.
Yeah.
Because that is what Pirates Week is. It's a fantasy festival, Obviously, we don't celebrate the things that, typically people understand piracy to represent. It's really just a fantasy festival. People have a lot of fun, and it's an opportunity for us to show the historical and cultural perspective of our Cayman Islands. And when people come here, that's exactly what they learn about.
Well, we must recognize that, whether we embrace it full tilt or whether we are unwilling to. There are movie production houses and other entertainment giants who have leveraged the branding of fantasy and have made billions.
Yep.
And
why can't we?
If you look at your history and your heritage and you hear some of the stories as they were told from generations past of people going into caves and finding gold doubloons, and that may translate into some little things that you see go down through the generations.
Exactly.
You just never know. But it's
and
more.
We've actually had the Travel Channel come here and interview our office, mainly our well-known pirate, Mr. Dwayne Ebanks, who went to the BRAC with the Travel Channel to do a documentary exactly on that buried treasure in Cayman BRAC. So, to your point,
other people making money off it. But to the notion, and it's great that we're willing to have this sort of societal discussion at times, but for visitors and friends, for the lure as it is, and for the wider community, we can still celebrate responsibly. We can still enjoy it. You may only engage in the fun runs. You may decide to do the charity, golf tournament, or you may decide, I want to be part of volunteering.
Exactly.
I want to provide and showcase the food. There is something for everybody.
Many, exactly. And we have on our calendar over 40 events happening during the festival period between the three islands.
How many days?
For the entire festival, let's see. about 10 in Grand Cayman, and another 6 in the Sister Islands, so 16 days.
Okay, that's
so it's really pirates.
One festival,
Yes.
3 islands,
Yes.
16 days, 40 even.
Did you see our commercial?
No.
That's exactly what it
That's
is.
what it is? See,
well, not 16 days, but.
Well, I just no,
almost.
But I want people to start to embrace who we are and what we are, and to, if you're challenging something, challenge it because you're going to add value, make it better.
And you have knowledge.
And you have knowledge.
You have the correct and factual knowledge to challenge it.
Yeah.
Not what you heard someone say or what you guess or what you assume.
I'll give you a little teaser. Ray Banker. You probably know.
Oh,
know
happy
Ray.
birthday, Ray.
Don't tease.
Shout out to Ray.
Okay, since you said it, you got to sing it. Happy birthday, Ray Banker. Come on.
No, I do not sing.
Come on, Miss Susan. Happy birthday to Ray.
We do not sing.
This is your special day. Come on, Ray.
There you go. You sang it.
No, I know it's coming to pass. I know that unfortunately he doesn't have the sufficient support and resources and a lot of the time to delve into the historical record as he wants.
Right.
And as he has unearthed, perhaps discovered some things, treasures, not just here but elsewhere, and look with bated breath for future editions of what he intends to take CYSA into. And you would be amazed at the incredible history that this country has for such a small people. And that's why when I look at the Pirates Week
I would love to
celebration,
do a show with him.
Okay.
Can we do like a Pirates Week segment? What you saying?
Okay.
Pirate style?
Ray, there's your topic. Maybe too late to curate it. Okay, let me talk to him. I know him kind of well. I have access and maybe some influence.
I know I'm putting you on the spot right now. So
yeah, we've been. He has done about 4 shows, and we want them for next time.
Okay.
So we got this one.
That's fine.
No. This one might be better.
Okay.
Let me ask him.
Okay.
I'll call him right now. Ray, are you there? All right. But you will share with us as we look at it. What else? I mean, the BRAC Festival you shared coming up.
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit more about the BRAC. There's still time for people to register as a vendor. The BRAC District Day is going to be held at the Heritage House. That's Northeast Bay, and that's sponsored by the Ministry of Tourism. A great thank you to Mr. Moses for his usual support. The vendors, of course, we know some of the best cooks, chefs, however you want to, categorize them, come from the BRAC. So that is the part that I am looking forward to the most because I love to eat. Wow. But we have DEH food handlers training in Cayman BRAC, and that's actually conducted once a month. It depends on the number of persons that are registered for the course. It's only $15 per person, and you can make payment at the district administration in State Bay. You get a certificate, and you need that certificate in order to be what we would consider a licensed vendor. Safety comes first, so we want to make sure that all of our vendors are certified and have their current and up-to-date food handler certificate. So contact your district admin office and see how you can get more information on how to register. There's still time. Again, it's only $15. Back to the schedule of events for Cayman BRAC. We kick off the activities with a happy hour at Captain's Table. This year we've spread the love, so to speak, throughout Cayman BRAC. So we wanted to give as many businesses as possible, a piece of the pie, so to speak. So Captain's Table happy hours from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. Then we move to the official kickoff party at La Esperanza. And that's Friday's activities. Saturday, we start with the Heritage House. That's the Pirates Week Heritage Day for Cayman BRAC. And then we move to a float parade. That float parade, we're really looking forward to entrance from the schools as well. We've sent out letters to banks, government departments, schools, seeking their interest to participate. So we're hoping to get quite a bit of participants this year for the Cayman BRAC float parade. And then 8 p.m. we have fireworks at the Coral Isle Club, and that's also the after party location. And then on Sunday, November 3rd, we have a farewell for the Pirates from 12 p.m. until 3 p.m. And again, that's at La Esperanza. So there's a weekend of jam-packed activities. Again, something for everybody in Cayman Brac.
Indeed, man. And the wider community will be out, I think, as we've seen over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be fun.
Lots of fun. We were trying to do a bonfire, but we couldn't find a bonfire location. So if anyone has any ideas, please reach out to the Pirates Week office, 949-5078, and let me know. We are happy to put it on the schedule, even though it's on the website, and we've changed it about at least 57 times by now.
58, I think, right?
58 today.
If I probably hadn't gone over my quota of making fun of politicians, I probably offer up on that one, but I don't want to do that today. Just maybe pushing the envelope just a little bit. But this is where the community gets involved.
Yes.
So, a call for a
volunteers for, sorry?
A location for the bonfire, but
yes.
Again, the volunteers can come in.
And yes, we have volunteers here in Cayman, in Grand Cayman, that are assisting us with the Cayman Brac Heritage Day. And we also have Zindora and Rochelle, who have been an amazing help with organizing things over in the Brac. And also we have Amber Tatum, who is here in Grand Cayman, who's Mona Lisa's sister. So, they're Bracas, right? So I couldn't do this without them, honestly. So a big shout out to them. Big shout out to all the sponsors, Captain's Table, La Esperanza, Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Culture, Coral Isle Club for their participation, their efforts, their contributions. We need volunteers for Grand Cayman. So I don't want to go without mentioning we have a volunteers meeting today, actually, at the Pirates Week office, 5:30 p.m. We have, I think, over 300 volunteers in our database, but we have people subscribing every day that are interested in volunteering. So we're extremely grateful for the loyal and dedicated volunteers that we have every year for the festival and the newcomers. But we always need more. So if you're interested, reach out to the Pirates Week Festival office.
What sort of things would you require of your volunteers?
Well, we have a whip, and we beat them if they don't. I'm just
no, I think you should. I walked the gangplank. I have a whip too, but it's just...
I'm just joking. It's been a long day.
The day just starting for you.
No, it's not.
No, I'm talking about, you have about another 12 hours at least.
Yeah.
Your days are incredibly long.
Too long.
People don't see how dedicated and
my daughter has disowned her mother because I don't get to see her before she goes to bed sometimes. But that's part of the job, so I've accepted that. But back to the volunteers, we have a list of activities that they can be a part of, whether it's administrative, it's if you want to be a character. For example, we need red coats, or even pirates. You can actually be a character. We need help with our float parade. We need marshals, just assisting vendors with moving their equipment into the food court. Lots of duties for our volunteers. Sorry, I can't remember all the responsibilities right now, but they're again on our website at piratesweekfestival.com. The age group, we prefer 16 and above, but we do have tasks for even little ones to assist. We have our Children's Fun Day coming up, and we need to pack the goodie bags. My daughter and younger kids. Yes, I have her working there as well.
Volunteering.
Volunteering.
No, but this is where the community comes together. It is a community event, and all hands on deck.
All hands on deck. And feet.
And feet.
Yes.
Eyes,
ears.
Well, when we look at the different sort of celebrations that unfold in the evenings and all the different activities that go on throughout the time here as well as on the St. Islands, it's amazing.
It's a lot. It's a lot, but I think what for me really lets me know it's really started, the fireworks.
Yeah.
That is my reminder, okay, Mel, this is it. It has begun. And not just in Grand Cayman, but in the Sister Islands as well, with Cayman Brac. But the fireworks, Mr. Graham Rankin, who has told me that the fireworks are not going to be that good this year, which we know different.
Mm-hmm.
Will be an amazing show. So we're looking forward to that on the waterfront in Grand Cayman. We have opening fireworks on November 8th, and we have the closing fireworks for downtown on the 11th. And that's during our culture shop event.
Right. Well, we know Graham, and he says he only does two things well. Anything he does, he only
I only know about fireworks.
Yeah, anything and everything.
Oh.
That's what Graham says. Only two things he does well, you know. So
I believe that. I believe he said that.
Graham would say, boy, you were a friend. Oh, but it's going to be an amazing fireworks display. It's been, every year.
And don't forget, we have underwater fireworks.
Yeah.
Not just in the sky, but
underwater.
on the water. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I think Graham, yeah.
So you have to be downtown to see that.
You know, I haven't been downtown for the fireworks in the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've been telling me for what? This will be the seventh festival now.
I've managed to find a nice vista where I can look from the bay, and
that doesn't count.
I missed the underwater part.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, so I should try.
You have to be downtown.
And there's so many people, so get there early.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots, thousands and thousands of people.
It really is a beautiful sight when you're able to see it from certain vantage points. The amount of people.
Just to remind people of the dates for the 3 islands, we kick off the festival celebrations with Cayman Brac from November 1st to the 3rd. Then we move to Grand Cayman from November 7th, leading straight through to the District Week, the 16th of November. So just 7th to the 16th, and then we move to Little Cayman from the 15th to the 17th. So the district days this year are going to be starting on Tuesday, November 12th, through to Saturday, November 16th. I see you taking your notes.
Yeah, because Susan
I have a schedule, right? I can give you this.
I appreciate it. Madam Speaker, let the record reflect. One of the
I will give you my schedule, which is very detailed.
Yes,
has everything on it.
All the notes on it.
Yeah, it has notes on it.
Oh, cool. I like that. Private numbers for, all right, excellent.
I'll cover those up.
I should not do this to you. You were just, but this is where
but
you
I will
need
get
to
your
relax.
schedule, though. But again, this can be found on our website too.
I'll look at it,
under calendar of events, okay?
Just need to figure out to print it off now.
You don't even need to print it off. You can download it. You can have it on your phone.
No, that means
we are mobile.
Yeah.
See, we're up to speed with our...
I'm not.
Well, I'm telling you how to get up to speed.
Paper.
How about I send it to you via WhatsApp? That way you can have it handy.
Okay.
Always.
How about you walk with me, and anytime I need to know this, Mel, what's going on?
Okay, I can do that too.
She's promised that one day I'll be your PA. How about that?
I like to be behind the scenes, so I'll be your PA.
You know what? Someday.
Little Cayman.
Yes, Little Cayman. You were telling me about it.
Yes, Little Cayman, 15th to the 17th. That's my favorite of the 3, and I will say that every year because it's the truth. Love Little Cayman. We have a great committee over there. Miss Dacia, Miss Maxine, and the other committee members are working hard behind the scenes to create an amazing Little Cayman experience as well as they've done every year. So looking forward to that. So anything you need to know about Pirates Week, piratesweekfestival.com or Cayman Islands Pirates Week Festival on our Facebook page. We also have Twitter, CI Pirates Week, and we also have Instagram. I know for the younger,
Yeah, I forget what's Instagram, but Susan will tell me. She's young.
Yes, Instagram is Pirates Week Cayman. So follow us, like us, tweet us, just stay in touch. There's information for everyone on there.
Well, I'm looking anxious to not just to the festival, but for Monday when you come back with Honourable Minister, we can talk about it then.
Oh, yes. We're going to talk about the song competition then too.
Right.
Yes. I don't want to say too much because I'm going to be on the radio way too much for my liking. So
once you're here, that's all that matters.
I want to save something for each time I'm on the air.
Well, I love not just your professionalism and your competence, your strong acumen when it comes to it, but the passion, the enthusiasm, and the playful nature. Because this is a festival. It is. And your willingness to laugh and to encourage and to nurture the festival. 70 when it started. I should know exactly.
Same year as me.
Yep.
I started in 77. I have no problems. I have no problems disclosing my age. None whatsoever.
Well, you don't look bad for 18. That's what I say.
For 18, yeah.
There you go. And the thing is, it's a festival that someone somewhere probably has that first T-shirt that they came out. I know I had one.
And they're avid, not just T-shirt collectors, but souvenir program collectors, poster collectors. Where is the poster? I didn't see the poster when I came in.
Let me talk to my people. I didn't see
please talk to your people.
Yeah. But I wasn't looking either. I was so focused.
I'll make sure that I have a few more delivered here
please
for you
do.
guys. Yeah.
All right, so piratesweetfestival.com.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I really commend you and your team, but also the wonderful volunteers who get involved. And
big shout out to my team, Raquel and Lori, amazing ladies.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, women run the show at Pirates Week.
Just
wanted to let you know that.
So good.
Yes.
There you go. All right. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you for having
I
me.
invite you to make time for yourself, as you're so dedicated, but make time.
I will.
All
that
right.
work-life balance. Thanks for having me again, Dwayne. And
Always
I'll see
a
you
pleasure.
on Monday.
Well,
I'll see you before then, though. Outside of the
yeah,
studio.
Promise. All right.
Good stuff.
And all you can spread rumors, okay? That's great.
Oh, gosh.
We're exercising later. That's the good thing. Miss Bell, thank you so much for your laughter and your true commitment to your job. Yes, it's wonderful to be able to take a page from professionals like you who are so dedicated.
Thank
and
you.
your daughter will understand.
Yes,
you know.
she's a good sport.
She's amazing. Man.
She is.
She's
She
amazing.
is. I love my mama.
Like her mommy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, to our listeners, please continue to stay tuned to Radio Cayman. Join, Mr. Art in the morning for the record. Of course, come back for Talk Today after the midday news and midday meditation. And as we take you through, we have some great things in store for the rest of the week, in particular on Thursday as we partner with the Department of Children and Family Services. I'll tell you more about that tomorrow, perhaps. Until then, though, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
After all that talk, sit back, relax. Easy listening on the way. You're listening to Susan on the PM Show, Radio Cayman.